Have you ever wondered who the real heroes of the American Revolutionary War were? The ones whose actions shaped the course of history? As we delve into the annals of time, we find ourselves face to face with the brave men and women who dared to stand against tyranny, sparking a revolution that would forever alter the world. The American Revolutionary War, a pivotal conflict that erupted in the late 18th century, was not just a struggle for independence, but a testament to human courage and resilience. This war, driven by the quest for liberty and self-governance, was a crucible where ordinary individuals became extraordinary heroes. Their heroic acts, often overlooked in the grand narrative, were indeed the catalysts that propelled the colonies towards their destiny. From clandestine operations to epic battles, their stories are imbued with valor and sacrifice. Join us as we journey back in time to explore the heroic acts that turned the tide of the American Revolutionary War. It all began with a single shot on April 19, 1775. The dawn of that fateful day saw the quiet towns of Lexington and Concord transform into the birthplace of a revolution. Ordinary civilians known as Minutemen found themselves at the forefront of a conflict that would shape the course of history. There, on the green fields of Massachusetts, these Minutemen stood their ground against an imposing British force. They were farmers, blacksmiths, and shopkeepers, not soldiers, yet they were resolved to defend their homes and their rights. Their muskets, though fewer in number, were held with a determination that echoed across the colonies. As the smoke cleared, the British forces found themselves facing not just a ragtag group of rebels, but a determined people ready to fight for their liberty. These ordinary men had become symbols of extraordinary courage. These Minutemen, vastly outnumbered, set the stage for a revolution with their courage and resilience. In the summer of 1775, a figure emerged who would become the symbol of the revolution: George Washington. A Virginia planter and veteran of the French and Indian War, Washington was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army by the Second Continental Congress. His first major test, the Siege of Boston. The city was under British control, a stronghold of the King's forces. Washington, however, was not deterred. With a strategic genius that would become his trademark, he managed to fortify the hills surrounding the city with cannons brought from Fort Ticonderoga. The British, finding themselves outmaneuvered and outgunned, had no choice but to evacuate the city in March of 1776. It was an early victory, a significant boost to the morale of the fledgling nation. The Siege of Boston demonstrated Washington's ability to lead and to strategize, qualities that would serve him and the revolution well in the challenging years to come. Washington's strategic genius and leadership were instrumental in the early victories of the revolution. On a cold Christmas night in 1776, a daring plan was set into motion that would reinvigorate the faltering revolution. It was a time of incredible tension and uncertainty. The American Revolutionary War was in its infancy, and the Continental Army, under the command of General George Washington, was struggling. They say necessity is the mother of invention, and Washington, in a desperate bid to turn the tide of the war, conceived an audacious plan. The idea was to cross the icy Delaware River under the cover of night and launch a surprise attack on the Hessian forces stationed in Trenton, New Jersey. The crossing itself was fraught with danger. The river was choked with ice, the weather was bitterly cold, and the soldiers were ill-equipped for such conditions. Moreover, the element of surprise was paramount. If they were spotted, or if the weather turned against them, the plan could easily end in disaster. Despite these challenges, in the early hours of December 26th, Washington and his men successfully made the crossing. With surprise on their side, they launched their attack on Trenton. The Hessians, caught off guard, were quickly overwhelmed. The Battle of Trenton was a resounding victory for the Continental Army, with nearly 1,000 Hessians captured. Riding high on this success, Washington decided to press his advantage. A week later, he led his troops to another victory at the Battle of Princeton. These back-to-back victories served as a much-needed morale booster for the Continental Army. They proved that the British and their allies were not invincible, and that the American forces were a formidable enemy. These events set the stage for the remainder of the war. They marked a turning point, signaling a shift in momentum towards the American side. It was a testament to Washington's leadership and the determination of his troops. They dared to take a risk, to challenge the odds, and in doing so, they breathed new life into the revolution. The success of these risky maneuvers bolstered the morale of the American troops and marked a turning point in the war. From the first shot at Lexington to the final victory at Yorktown, the American Revolutionary War was marked by heroic acts on and off the battlefield. This was a time when ordinary individuals became extraordinary heroes, their names etched forever in the annals of history. We began our journey with the shot heard round the world, a moment that ignited the flame of revolution and marked a decisive turning point in the struggle for American independence. This was no mere skirmish, it was a statement, a rallying cry for freedom that echoed across the colonies and beyond. Then we turned our attention to George Washington, the man who would become a symbol of the American spirit. His leadership, his grit, his unyielding resolve in the face of overwhelming odds, these qualities set the stage for the victories to come. Washington's command was not just about strategy and tactics, it was about inspiring hope and fostering unity among his troops. Our journey took us next to the pivotal event of crossing the Delaware, a daring maneuver that changed the course of the war. It was a moment of great risk, but also of great reward. The victory at Trenton breathed new life into the American cause and proved that the fight for independence was far from over. These are just a few of the stories that make up the rich tapestry of the American Revolutionary War. They remind us of the bravery, the sacrifice, and the unwavering commitment to freedom that defined this pivotal period in our nation's history. The heroes of the American Revolutionary War were ordinary people who performed extraordinary acts in the pursuit of freedom. Their courage and determination continue to shape the world we live in today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more of our content.